It's Saturday, April 10th, 2021. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope everybody got a chance to watch my past videos from Los Angeles. I have one more that I'll be putting up from the ports down in Long Beach to show you what is happening in this trade deficit, trade war, and it's clear that America is losing the trade war. But I want to talk about a few other things today. One of them being this article on CNBC. It's titled, "The Economy is on the Cusp of a Major Boom and Economists Believe It Could Last." And the last couple days where I've been watching Fox Business or CNBC, I've watched economists, I've watched the host of these shows, these business shows, telling all of us about this big economic boom that is coming to America. And of course, there is going to be a sugar rush, a sugar high with another $1.9 trillion that has just been injected. People are going to spend a lot of that. A lot of that is going to go into the stock market. So of course, we're going to see a sugar high here. But how long will it last? And of course, it's artificial. It's not coming from job creation or job growth or real economic growth. It's coming from funny money that we're just printing. But I want to share a story with all of you as we're on the brink of this economic euphoria, this economic boom, as they say. I took my mom out to dinner the other night and took her to a well-known barbecue chain all over the country. It's not great, but I just wanted to share this with you because I'm seeing more and more businesses tapping out. The ones that are open seem like they don't even care. And I don't know about all of you, but have you seen the prices if you go to a barbecue joint or a burger joint or a sandwich joint or whatever it might be? Look at the prices. So we got 2 pulled porks and 2 coleslaws and a watered down Coke, and it cost over $28. The service, extremely poor. They had 2 teenage kids running the restaurant, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, there's 4 people at this restaurant, and they had a couple takeouts, and they were overwhelmed. They were overwhelmed with 4 people at the restaurant and a couple takeout orders. And I'm thinking, where's the owner of this restaurant, right? Where is the owner? You're leaving 2 kids in charge that have no idea what they're doing. It took 30 minutes to get 2 sandwiches and 2 coleslaws, over $28. And I'm thinking, this place is not going to be around much longer. If you're not on top of your game right now as a business or a restaurant in this environment, I don't see how you survive. But maybe they've already tapped out. Maybe the owners already said, hey, maybe we got some triple P money, whatever, and we'll leave the lights on as long as we can, pay up the mortgage on the house, and ride off into the sunset and hope for better days. I don't know, but it shocks me that a restaurant, and I'm seeing this more and more, whether you go to a store or a restaurant, the food quality is getting so bad, the service bad, and the prices are just exploding. Have you seen the price of going out to dinner or out to lunch? It's unbelievable. And that brings me on into the next story. I had my mom's house pressure washed yesterday. Pressure washer comes over, does the driveway, the windows, the house, gets all the dust and sand and dirt off of it. And this is a gentleman that I bring out once a year, maybe once every year and a half. And I was talking to him and I said, hey, how's business been? And he says, well, it's been up, it's been down. And we talked a little bit more. And he told me that since this crisis, he's lost 47 accounts. And he said, look, people are coming here from other countries and getting help. I'm getting no help. He goes, I've fallen behind. I ran a couple times. I'm doing okay right now. I did get back 8 of the 47 accounts. and it's just day to day. And here's a guy that works extremely hard, works for himself. This is the American dream. This is the American small business owner, the backbone of America, falling behind on rent, losing 47 accounts, but back out there, just back to the grind, trying to make it. His truck's falling apart. In fact, I thought maybe he might even be sleeping out of his truck. And look, this is a good guy. And these are the people that really, really need help, and they're not getting the help, or they're not getting enough help. And when the economy is completely shut down, guess what? Offices don't need their windows washed. They don't need pressure washing. Restaurants are closed. They don't need pressure washing. And how many of those office buildings and restaurants, out of those 47 accounts that he had prior to the crisis, how many of those are never coming back? Maybe half will never come back. How many of them now will never use a pressure washer, or instead of using a pressure washer once a month, now it's once a year? So it's just a sign of the times. But again, when I go back and read this article, the economy is on the cusp of a major boom, and economists believe it could last. Well, I hope they're right. I pray to God that they're right. I hope we see the biggest boom ever. But where are the jobs? How in the world are you going to have an economy with just paying people to stay at home and just destroying our currency with all this money printing, creating all this stimulus out of thin air? That has to be paid back, and we're on the hook for it, and we're seeing more and more inflation. And I just don't see where the boom is going to come from, especially when you watch my next video down in Long Beach at the ports, when you see thousands and thousands of containers, miles upon miles of containers coming in from all over the world, and we're being told to send back 188,000 empty ones, just empty containers, just to China. That doesn't include Vietnam, South Korea, and Bangladesh, and places all over the world. China just said, give us back 188,000 containers. Hello. So when I see this, I cringe. How is this economy ever going to bounce back when we're not making anything, we're not manufacturing, we're paying people to sit at home, we're seeing opportunity disappear, and we're seeing this wealth gap get so large in America, and so many people suffering. It's very, very scary. I want to share another story with you from 2 days ago. I was down in El Paseo, very, very wealthy shopping area out here in the desert, the Rodeo Drive of the desert. And I was actually at Dr. Anthony's getting an adjustment, and I noticed an RV pulling out of the Jensen's, which is a higher-end grocery store parking lot, pulling out, and this is about a 30-plus-year-old, maybe 40-year-old RV, and it pulled out, and I said, man, that's somebody sleeping there. That's not a new higher-end RV. It's definitely out of place here on El Paseo, and it was dilapidated driving up towards El Paseo. Well, we're coming back from getting a iced coffee at McDonald's, and I see 10 police officers, a paramedic unit, 2 fire trucks, right off of El Paseo, right behind the Daily Grill, right off of El Paseo, in the Daily Grill parking lot, and it's that RV. So we pull over and check it out, and lo and behold, that RV had slammed into a tree head-on right in front of the building that houses some retail and the Daily Grill restaurant. And if that tree wasn't there, that RV would have drove right into the building and probably right into the restaurant. But it was a high-impact accident. And again, all these police, they pull the individual out. He looks homeless. And I think to myself now, this guy was living out of this 40-year-old RV. Now it's totaled. Now what happens to him? He's homeless. This individual now doesn't have an RV to sleep in. He sleeps on the streets. And that's how fast things can happen. We have so many people in America sleeping out of their cars, sleeping out of vans, sleeping out of old dilapidated RVs. they're on their last leg. And one little accident, one breakdown, and these people are in big trouble. The hedge today, over 18 million Americans are still on government jobless benefits despite broad reopenings. Let's go back to the news on Thursday that I wasn't able to talk about since I didn't make a video. But 744,000 first-time jobless claims last week. That was the news that we got this past Thursday morning. Exceeded expectations. The expectation was around 680,000. We got 744,000 first-time jobless claims that were reported this past Thursday. And yet we're talking about an economic boom. We don't even know realistically how many people are homeless in America at this point. Nobody even knows. And we're not going to be told. But when I hear this number of 744,000 first-time jobless claims, and now we are going over a year with this crisis, and it's 7. What have we had? 1, maybe 2 weeks where we had under 700,000 first-time jobless claims, and those were like 680, 690. Other than that, it's over 700,000 for over a year. Absolutely incredible. And you tell me where the good news is, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me how this is going to be fixed, how this economy is going to be repaired, how it's going to be brought back to life, because I just can't figure it out. And, we continue to hear about the housing boom and how great it's going, but they're not telling you about the hedge fund money, the institutional money, the BlackRocks and the hedge funds coming in and being able to pay $500,000 in cash for a shack. And they're going to be the first ones out when this whole thing implodes, and they'll be the first ones in to buy it all up when everybody loses their house. It's really sinister what's going on. Wolfstreet.com, the power of stimmies after decades of rampant offshoring. Trade deficit hits worst ever. We now have the worst ever trade deficit, and it is worsening. Check out my video. I'll probably release it tomorrow. Check it out. And look at the containers. You may see in some of the background some of the cargo ships coming in loaded to the hilt with more containers. And I mean, it's unbelievable. I could only film so much, and I'm only filming one side of the port. It was miles and miles and miles and miles of containers just being unloaded and empty ones going back. It's reality. It is reality, and this is why I make these videos, to open your eyes, open your mind, make you think for yourselves, and make sure that you are preparing. I'm preparing with gold, silver, cash. You may be preparing with cryptos and metals and whatever you're doing, but I'm not a big crypto guy, as you know. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. But I believe that getting out of the system is more important than being in the system. And if you believe that getting out of the system is cryptos, then I wish you the best of luck with that. But just remember that they can shut cryptos down very, very fast. They can ban it, outlaw it, tax it, they can destroy it. So I like things that nobody knows that I have or where it's at, and that's gold and that's silver, and I can do a transaction with gold or silver with somebody for another asset and nobody knows. But look, I'm not going to sit here and criticize anybody for buying cryptos. If you think that's the way of getting out of the system, then I wish you the best, and it may work out, it may not. Nobody has a 100% definitive answer of how to prepare for this thing, but doing nothing will guarantee that you will succumb to this collapse, that you will lose. So the hedge, Mercedes, first quarter sales rise by 22% after demand surges from China and North America. So, the 1% are continuing to do very well. They're out there buying the jewelry, they're buying the cars. Here's another one on CNBC. Rolls-Royce hits new sales record in the first quarter as the wealthy demand luxury cars. And that wealthy class is growing, and the poverty class is exploding. And again, I believe that it's going to be the 1% that continue to run these markets up, and it's going to be the 99% that pay when these markets implode. These people will have their cars paid for. They will have their gold, their silver. They will have assets like land and homes, farms, cattle ranches, and they're very well diversified in art, diamonds, wine, baseball cards, collectible cars. These people of wealth, the 1%, we must be thinking more like them in order to survive what is coming. If you think that you're just gonna, save up cash, put it in your bank account for a rainy day, and you're gonna survive, you're sadly mistaken. I think you should have some cash. It's part of my portfolio. I believe that you have to have some, but remember, cash is being destroyed every day by inflation, but you still have to have some. But these are the people that own physical gold, physical silver. They own stocks, they own land, they own multiple houses. And most of these people, when they make these purchases, they purchase them in cash and own them outright. The cars, the houses, the land, the farms, the cattle ranches. These people are their own banks, and we need to think like that too. If you're gonna buy a car, you pay cash. You're gonna buy a piece of jewelry, you pay cash. You go on vacation, you pay cash. The problem with America is people want things today that they can't afford. And so they'll go finance a car for 7 years, 8 years. They'll go buy a watch and put it on a credit card or finance it through a jewelry store. They're buying a house that is much too expensive for them. But now, guess what? They're talking about 40-year mortgages, 40-year mortgages, so they can get people into buying a home. So you'll never own it, but you'll be financing it for 40 years. Or when things crash, all the hedge funds and banks come in, foreclose, buy back all these cheap properties at 20, 30, 40, 50 cents on the dollar, and then rent it back to you. You'll be able to rent your own home back from the hedge fund that purchased your house after you were foreclosed on. So we've got to start thinking, in my opinion, like the 1%, like a central bank. You got to have hard, tangible assets. You got to have some cash. And you got to be paying for things in cash and not acquiring debt. Debt is going to be the killer here, ladies and gentlemen. As we go deeper into this depression, when the bottom falls out, the people with a lot of debt are going to be annihilated. You do not want to be one of these people. Debt is a killer, and it is going to be the demise of millions of people when this economy really, really turns. Oracles. Larry Ellison buys Palm Beach mansion for $80 million. This is the kind of sick money that is out there. While the pressure washer loses 47 accounts, while people are just working paycheck to paycheck, while people are struggling now, worried about eviction, worried about foreclosure, people are out there buying $80 million homes. I just watched a YouTube video the other day where they were showing a new home that took 10 years to build. It's in Beverly Hills. It cost $500 million. This is what it's on the market for, $500 million. It will not sell for $500 million, but there's a likelihood that that house could sell for $200 million, maybe $250, maybe $175, but whatever it sells for, it's going to be astronomical. The wealth that is out there is so sick, and this economy is paying for very, very few to have a sort of wealth that we only see in movies, right? That was unheard of a decade ago. Now you have a small group of people that have half the wealth. When you continue to print money out of thin air, you destroy the currency, no matter what currency that is. When you continue to create money out of thin air, you destroy fiat currency. And that's exactly what's happening all over the world. It's a race to the bottom. And this is why you must be holding something real. Again, if you're holding cryptos, God bless you. A lot of you making money. I hope you're pulling some of the profits off the table. I hope you're cashing out and buying real assets. Because cryptos, what are we at? Nearly 10,000 cryptos now. Cryptos have not been tested. They have not been through the Great Depressions. They have not been through economic collapses. They have not been through world wars. They have not been through the tough times. So we don't know enough yet to know if cryptos are going to survive what's coming. But again, diversify. Own gold, own silver, own some cash, own some cryptos. I think that's wonderful. That's thinking outside of the box. That's diversification. That's getting at least mostly out of the system. Again, I think cryptos may be actually buying into a system, but only time will tell. Only time will tell. But we all have to critically think for ourselves. I don't give financial advice, but you need to be thinking for yourself, your future. You need to be preserving your wealth, and you need to do that the best way you think possible. I'm going to leave it there today. I don't like what I see coming. And again, just going to my local businesses and just seeing how much things cost, what I'm getting for the money, it's not good. And if you're a business out there, if you're a business owner, you need to be at that business. You need to be watching it, and you need to be on top of your A game right now, because those businesses who are not on top of their A game, let me close with this. I wrote a Yelp on that restaurant. Have not heard back from the owner of that restaurant. And that tells me something right there. If you're an owner, you're reading a Yelp review like the one I wrote, and you do not contact me, you don't care about your business. And so maybe you don't care. And so, I give that restaurant at some point in 2022, it will no longer exist. 2022 will be the last year that restaurant exists. They don't care. Owner never called me, never contacted me, not there, watching their business. And so they don't care the quality that they're serving. They don't care that they're charging me $28 for 2 sandwiches. They don't care, and they should be embarrassed. So they don't care. So they will be a victim of poor service, poor quality, and this collapse. And I'm sure it's been hard on them with what's happened. But, if that's it, just close your doors and stop giving all of us bad service and bad quality food, because somebody will probably get food poisoned, and you're going to ruin somebody's day. But ladies and gentlemen, this is it's going to be ugly. It's beautiful out. People are out golfing again today. They're in the pool. Palm trees look beautiful. Blue skies, 92 degrees probably right now. It's a stunning day. But I'm telling you, there is big trouble coming, and this economy is not lying. They cannot cover up what's happening in the real economy. Yes. They can tell you whatever they want in the television, the stock market at all-time highs, and that's much easier to control with this stimulus, because they're getting a majority of it. The banks, Wall Street, they're getting a majority of this. They're sitting at the top of the pyramid. It's not trickling down to the real economy. The small business owner, the medium business owner, they're not getting the help that they deserve. They're not getting the help that the 1% are at the top of the pyramid. It's almost like they're being eradicated so that big corporations can come in and just gobble up all these small businesses. You remember back in the day when we had all those, little private owned gas stations? Remember that? Probably about 40 years ago, 50 years ago. There was all these little private gas stations, and then they passed some of these new laws and codes, and they forced them out of business. And who came in? The big Mobiles and Arcos and Shells, and the big boys came in and took over. And it's kind of like that now today, because all the little good restaurants are being decimated, and so we got the Taco Bells and McDonald's and Jack in the Boxes and Burger Kings, just flooding the restaurant market. And they have deep pockets, and they're getting all the help too. They're at the very top. I mean, heaven forbid we can't have McDonald's, go under. That's a publicly traded company. But, Joe's Pizza, nobody cares. Nobody cares about Joe's Pizza. But this is where we're at today, and nobody's going to save you when this thing implodes, okay? So take a good look at what's happening right now to small, medium business. They're being decimated. And as this economy gets worse, the average American is going to continue to be decimated. People are going to lose their jobs. People are going to lose houses. People are going to go homeless. And guess what? Nobody's going to help you. Right now, you need to be helping yourself. And by helping yourself, that means getting prepared right now for a very, very rainy day. Because we are going to see a flood here and it's going to be ugly, ladies and gentlemen. And you can blame whoever you want for what happens. You can blame the banks, the hedge funds, you can blame the politicians when you wake up one day and find out that your pensions have been wiped out, when your job's gone, when they're foreclosing on your house. You can blame whoever you want. But at some point, you're going to have to look in the mirror and blame yourself, because this is a message to anyone out there right now who's not preparing, who's not getting ready for that rainy day. That rainy day is coming. Be ready, because I don't want you to lose your house. You may lose your job, but you can still survive. But you lose your house, you're going to have problems. You lose your pension, you're going to have problems. So you need to be saving right now. You need to be putting things away right now. Food, water, real assets right now. Take a look at those containers coming in, because your jobs are getting loaded up on those containers and being shipped right back to those countries. Those jobs are never coming back to America. The jobs that have been gone, and more jobs leaving as we import people from all over the world to take over other jobs here. So when you got that college degree, now you owe $100,000, but we're going to bring somebody in who will do it for half the price from another country. I mean, figure that out. It's insanity. It really is insanity. All while the price or the cost of living goes up, food goes up, rent goes up, mortgages go up, price of healthcare goes up. Everything continues to go up. And don't forget, robotics and technology. I'm watching how they're building houses now with like robots, machinery that can just lay down bricks. It's humanly impossible how they can load trucks and load warehouses. They're not going to need people. So we're going to have all these people from all over the world here that are hungry, who need medical care, who need a job, who need money. How's all this going to end? Where is this all going? Think about it. Comment down below. Talk to all of you soon.